What's up guys, it's me, Straw Hat Nate, and I'm back this week with a review of the Spring 2024 anime season. Now that this season is over, it's time to collectively look at all the shows that I've watched this season and make a tier list of them. So this season, comparatively to other seasons, is full of both new anime and sequels of past anime. So I'm going to be ranking just the 12 episodes that came out during this season, and I'm also going to be ranking on order of popularity according to myanimelist.com for any of those who are wondering. And remember, this is all my opinion, and if you disagree, I encourage you to give your opinions in the comments down below. Last season, the comments got heated over my opinion of Classroom of the Elite, so I wonder if there will be any jarring takes that I have this season that get you guys commenting. And if you like this kind of content, do me a favor by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Now let's actually jump into it. So let's begin with the most popular show of the season, Demon Slayer Season 4, Hashira Training. This season of Demon Slayer is unlike any other previous season because of the format. It's pretty much entirely a training arc and a preparation arc for the final arc, which will come in a movie trilogy soon. And for that reasoning, it's difficult to give it a high ranking, unfortunately. I'll admit that I have not finished the season, but I have seen clips of that final episode, so that has to play a role into my ranking of the season. And I think this season will get boosted an entire letter grade based on just that final episode alone, because it looks like a cinematic masterpiece. But from what I've seen though, it has not been bad or anything. It's just been kind of mid because it lacks like a threat. Tanjiro and the gang, along with all the Hashira, make it enjoyable to watch though, so it's not too bad. But it's nothing compared to any other season of Demon Slayer. So with all that considered, I'm going to give Demon Slayer Season 4 a B tier, mostly thanks to that breathtaking final episode. Next up, we have Konosuba Season 3, which is the first Konosuba season in a while, I feel like. And I missed the comedy of Konosuba because it's one of those rare anime that actually can get a laugh out of me. And I also missed the lovable group led by Kazuma and their friendship dynamics, and this season had all of that, which I love. One gripe I have with this season is the obvious issue that many other people have with it too, and that's the character Iris. Specifically, the way that Kazuma interacts with Iris, who is an underage girl for those who don't know, feels kind of wrong sometimes. I suppose it's supposed to be funny like all the other gags in the show, but sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Besides that though, I have to give Konosuba credit for actually making an enjoyable time, so I will give this season an A tier on my tier list. Now we have the new big popular shonen of the season, Kaiju No. 8. It's the first new anime that I'm covering, so I think there's more to talk about right here. First off, the action. It's beautifully animated, which is exactly what a hype shonen anime like this needs to succeed. Secondly, the atmosphere and vibes are haunting at times, which is a great thing, and that's mainly because of the threatening kaiju, specifically Kaiju No. 9. Also, the show as a whole gives early AOT vibes, which is a great thing because AOT is great. And there was one take that I saw about the characters' faces looking all super basic, and that is something that I'm forced to acknowledge, but this doesn't really take away from the enjoyment of the show because everything besides their bland faces is animated superbly. And Kafka Hibino struggles with hiding his identity as a kaiju, and that's probably the most enjoyable part of the entire show. So I'm gonna give Kaiju No. 8 a B on the tier list. Next up, we have Musoko Tensei Season 2 Part 2, which I honestly really loved. This season has been the most serious of all the seasons, and Rudy has not been insufferable most of the time like he is with literally every other season. It was great to see the dynamic between Rudy and his sisters, Norn and Aisha, and I think that was the best part of the early half of the season. And then also his dynamic with his wife, Sylphie. And then it got even better when the second half starts and the stakes started to rise. This anime is probably one of the only anime of the season that made me really feel something, and that was during the final fight against that Hydra and with the death of a certain character, which I won't spoil. The only issue I have is that annoying end of the season with that stuff with the like double wife between Sylphie and Roxy, but I'll admit that it's good writing for Rudy because Rudy has always been like this, so it's annoying but it's not really bad. And this show was just really great overall, and I heard that next season gets even better. So right now I'll give this season of Mushoku Tensei an A tier on my list. Now we go into the third and final isekai of the season that I watched. That time I was reincarnated as a slime, season 3. I'll start outright by saying that this show was very disappointing. The vast majority of the season is literally just talking in a room. That stupid meeting room, which is in every single episode. I get that it's based on a light novel, but in anime, it is significantly better to show rather than tell, something that never happens in this season. And it's not like the dialogue is even engaging, it's just still frames of them talking. And when they do start actually showing stuff, like the Holy Church and Hinata attempting to invade Rimuru's kingdom, things start to get exciting and fun. And that's why it's not going to be the worst show here. But then after that, they go right back into the full episodes of just talking in that meeting room about geopolitics. For fans of this anime, I'm sorry, but I have to give it a D tier because it's literally like watching paint dry. Next up, we have My Hero Academia Season 7, which may or may not be the last season of My Hero Academia. So far though, it's been alright. You can tell that this season is kind of mid when it's this low in the popularity list when it would used to be number 1, undoubtedly. A lot of times, Studio Bones seems to make Horikoshi's beautiful and like emotional and gritty art look just bland, and that's kind of what holds this season back. I think that the fight between Star and Stripe and Shigaraki was excellent, but it narratively came out of nowhere and it wasn't necessary in all honesty. Then the beginning of the war arc has been alright, but it feels less impactful somehow than the manga. And I think I'm being a little harsh because I still enjoy the show, especially recently with that Todoroki vs. Dabi battle. So I'm gonna give My Hero Academia Season 7 a C tier because I expect better from them, but I have high hopes that it'll improve as this season goes on because they're gonna adapt some good things coming up. Now, we got another new anime, Windbreaker, which I thankfully gave a chance. I was pleasantly surprised by Windbreaker because it's just a normal delinquent anime, but I personally loved it. To describe it, it's kind of like Tokyo Revengers, but without those goofy ass character designs. Sakura, the main character, is just a typical delinquent anime protagonist, so there's nothing too special there. But the cast he's surrounded by is all unique, and they make up for Sakura's blandness, I think. The action is also outstanding and very unexpected for a brand new show like this. Specifically, the choreography within the fight scenes, it looks almost like real life. One minor issue that I have though is that the fights with Shishitoren, the rival gang, went on for a little long, but that's just a minor issue, and the fights did make a good job of making us care for both sides. I have to mention that the opening has to be the opening of the season for me because it's just that good. So with all this considered, I'll give Windbreaker a B tier, just like the other new show, Kaiju No. 8. Next up, I'll talk about the Misfit of Demon King Academy Season 2 Part 2, which I personally do not like at all. I have a policy that I never drop any anime, but this show really pushes my limits with that. It's so boring because it takes the One Punch Man overpowered trope, but doesn't do anything funny or complex with it at all. And it feels like we get random new villain gods every week with complex names, and then they try to take on Anos, but none of them literally do anything because he's so strong. And then these gods are super forgettable, and I don't remember them within the next episode. I also don't even care about the other classmates like Lei and Misa specifically, and they get a lot of screen time, especially when they fight those ugly ass CGI dragons, which might be the worst CGI I've ever seen. It makes me not want to even talk about this anime anymore, so it gets an F tier on my tier list. Now we switch to something a bit more enjoyable, Go Go Loser Ranger, a ripoff of Power Rangers that does something unique, which makes it a good show and not just a ripoff. This anime follows one of the villains, Fighter D, who is more of a victim than a villain because the Power Rangers in this world are actually kind of evil. And I love that it shows a dark side to heroes, kind of like The Boys. And I love how unique the concept is. I've never seen anything like it. My issue, which might drop some points, is that character motivations sometimes seem all over the place and unexplained, like with Sakurama, where he just switches to Fire D's side randomly. And then another minor issue I have, which I actually don't know if it's good or bad, is when the show completely changes when Fighter D enters the Ranger training. I just thought that the first half was better than the second half where he's in Ranger training. Overall, I'll give this first season of Go Go Loser Ranger a C tier because it's quite messy, but I love the uniqueness. Finally, I'll rank Sound Euphonium Season 3, a show which surprised me a lot. First of all, what really surprised me is how low this ranked on popularity when it's an anime by Kyoto Animation, one of the most popular and highly acclaimed anime studios. But this season of the show was low-key a masterpiece. It's the final season of the show, which covers Kumiko and Reina's final year in the high school orchestra. And it is, dare I say, better than the previous seasons. Visually, it's the most stunning anime of the season by far because of the great Kyoto Animation, but the story is so great as well. I love the depth of Kumiko's character that is discovered in this season because of the dilemma she faces with another classmate, Mayu Kumoe. This depth of Kumiko's character is something we haven't seen in the previous seasons, and it's something that makes the show so much better. And I learned a valuable lesson from this season, something I can't say about most other anime that I watched. Like other seasons, the music is great, of course, and the characters are cute as always. The last episode almost made me tear up too because of how beautiful the end of the series was. So I'm gonna do something unexpected for me and give the final season of Sound Euphonium an S tier on my ranking to close things off. In conclusion, this season was pretty good, I guess. Hopefully nobody gets offended by my rankings this time around, but if you want to comment to tell me what you would change, go ahead. Here is the complete list one more time for you all to see. And I also want to say here that I didn't rank One Piece, even though I'm Straw Hat Nate after all, but that's because I'm not going to rank One Piece every season. That would be excessive. I'm now realizing that it's disproportionately filled with sequels on this list, so maybe next season I'll try to watch more new anime rather than just sequels. I'll be back around in 3 months with another seasonal ranking, so come back then for the video. So if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to show your support, and I'll see you in the next one.